The Philadelphia Eagles defense has not performed at the level they did last year when they made it all the way to the Super Bowl. They've struggled, particularly in critical situations, including plays in the red zone and on third down. Their inability to come up with a big play when it matters is going to severely hurt their chances of winning it all this season. But there's reason for optimism. That's because they have a weapon that can stampede over any team's offensive game plan. And that weapon is still just scratching the surface of his potential. His name is Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter is a freak of nature. If you haven't heard of him yet, you most certainly will. He's as powerful as they come. He isn't just strong, he's as explosive as a cannon. Carter's a new school, versatile defensive lineman that the league won't have an answer for. He's currently the front runner for the NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year award thanks to his dominant frontline play. Carter's amongst the most unstoppable forces currently playing in the league, and his upside is that of a legendary defensive tackle. When you look at the defensive tackle position, the first name you think of is Aaron Donald. The beastly tackle pressures the quarterback from the inside unlike any other defender in recent memory. Some might call him the most dominant defensive player in league history. He's won 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards and 1 Super Bowl. Another player that dominates the position is Chris Jones of the Chiefs, who uses his length and power to apply constant pressure. And his team has won 2 Super Bowls recently. It's no surprise that these types of players' impact leads to winning more than some other positions because they have the ability to break up both the run game and pass game of opposing offenses, and there really isn't much that can be done to stop them. They can't be managed with a single blocker, so offenses have to devote extra attention to them, which opens up holes for other players on their team. Jalen Carter of the Eagles is only a rookie, but he's that good. The guy is a straight-up freight train, unlike any other player in the NFL. He also has already shocked the country with his high-level skill and IQ for a player lauded for his athletic dominance. In Week 12, he bursted off the ground to block a field goal against the Bills. Then in Week 14, he swiftly recovered a fumble for a touchdown against the Cowboys and trotted all the way to the house for a touchdown. He's currently among the best in the entire league at beating blockers and pressuring the quarterback. The Eagles have been utilizing him situationally because there's often a steep learning curve when it comes to competing in the NFL. But Carter's proving to be too dominant to sit on the sidelines. The Eagles have begun increasing his snap count in order to make their defense more potent. So far, the increased workload has made him less productive. But if the Eagles are going to get hot and make a run at the Super Bowl, it'll be because Jalen Carter gets as hot as he's capable of. Jalen Carter is far from your typical athlete. In middle school, he was utilized all over the football field because he was just so physically dominant. As a receiver, Carter could leap and make one-handed catches that just looked silly over the head of his defenders. It wasn't until his junior year at high school that his coaching staff finally started utilizing him at the position he was born to play, defensive line. His athleticism and frame has frequently drawn comparisons to legendary defensive tackle Warren Sapp, who started as a tight end during his high school days and didn't get moved to defense until he was in college. But it wasn't just football that Carter was dominating. He was also an elite basketball prospect. If he wanted, Carter would have been playing Division I basketball, and many believe he had massive NBA upside. He was coached by former NBA phenom Jason Williams, aka White Chocolate, who was a white point guard who electrified on the court because of his flashy passes and dribbling. Because of Jalen Carter's desire to not just dominate, but dazzle spectators with his superhuman abilities. Jason Williams wasn't a dunker or a high flyer, but like Carter, he could wow viewers by putting on a show. Jalen Carter's playing style on the court was more reminiscent of Zion Williamson. At 300 pounds, Carter defied gravity. He could rise up like a rocket and throw down powerful 360 and windmill slam dunks. Alex Marshall, the director of basketball at Jalen Carter's high school, said this about Jalen Carter. He was just a complete athlete that could get to any spot on the floor that he wanted and do whatever he wanted. Just as he's doing in football, he was doing in basketball. He could have easily done the same in basketball. I could not believe it. Even seeing it, it was hard to believe. He's just so graceful, even with all that muscle. How do you get all that weight off the ground like that? I'm still perplexed. He's one of a kind. Jalen Carter isn't like other athletes. He's a world-class freak. He was recruited by every college program in the nation and decided to commit to the University of Georgia. There, he only continued to leave teammates and spectators in awe. Even Travon Walker, his defensive teammate at Georgia and first overall pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, was mesmerized by Carter's abilities. I can just remember times when, like, say, for instance, somebody just pissed Jalen off during the middle of practice, Walker said. And I mean, it got ugly fast. If someone said the wrong thing to him, he'll just go probably bull rush him or just hit him with a quick move. Make it a little easy. Effortless. Effortless was a common phrase used to describe the way Carter played defense. For a man over 300 pounds, he had a never-ending motor combined with the sheer power of an ox. He justifiably earned the nickname Baby Rhino thanks to his unworldly abilities to overpower his opponents. The highlight of his college career may have occurred in the first half of the SEC championship game against LSU. Carter hunted down LSU's quarterback and picked him up into the air like a child. While holding Daniels with only his left arm, Carter raised his right hand and flashed the number 1 with his finger. The gesture was a bold statement that he should be the first overall pick in the upcoming NFL draft. And maybe he should have been. The Georgia Bulldogs went on to win the national championship, led by the dominant play of Jalen Carter. He was surely the most athletic player available and was the most impactful defensive player in the country for Georgia. However, things went sour for Carter leading up to the draft. Following the championship game, Carter made an ill-advised decision to get in a car race with a woman named Chandler LaCroix, who was a recruiting staffer for Georgia. LaCroix was driving in an SUV with offensive lineman Devin Willock and got in a major accident that proved fatal for both LaCroix and Willock. Carter was driving with a suspended license. He was sentenced to 12 months on probation, but was required to pay a $1,000 fine while also performing 80 hours of community service, but was not forced to go to jail. It obviously affected the young man deeply, both emotionally and in terms of draft stock. Shortly after, he arrived at Georgia's pro day, 9 pounds above his playing weight and physically incapable of finishing the testing in front of NFL scouts and coaches. The incident caused the undisputed best athlete in his class to slip to number 9 in the draft, where the Eagles traded up 1 selection to scoop him up. And now it seems that all the doubts about his abilities have been erased. There hasn't been many players, dare I say any players in NFL history, with the size and explosiveness that Carter contains. And he's improved his hand techniques and moves at the line now that he's at the NFL level. Some doubted whether he could learn the skills and techniques needed to dominate at the NFL, where he wouldn't be able to rely on strength alone, and he's put that to rest. With more reps, Carter will continue to improve and is more than likely to become the best defensive lineman in the entire league. How quickly will he learn to dominate as an every snap player like Aaron Donald? That seems to be the real question at this point. If he can adjust and tear down offensive game plans with an increased snap count, it'll allow the Eagles to make the defensive plays necessary to win a Super Bowl this season. But that's a big if. But we want to know what you guys think. Will Jalen Carter win the Defensive Player of the Year award? And can he learn to dominate with more snap counts fast enough for the Eagles to improve their defense by playoff time? And will he truly become the best defensive lineman in the NFL? Let us know what you guys think, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more sports news and insights. Thanks for watching. See you next time.